This is sort of a follow-up, consular, from our April 27th.
Right, a month ago.
Exactly. These vets that are suing over these defective combat earplugs.
Right.
This is a serious situation.
It's a very serious situation, and I don't think many people know about it.
Right.
Quite frankly,
exactly.
I was surprised at how few people actually do know about this, especially as we enter Memorial Day to honor our veterans
Right.
and what the sacrifices they have made. What they didn't know, many of them, since 2003, all the way through 2015, is the earplugs that they were given were defective. Not only were they defective, but allegedly 3M, through its predecessor company, they actually, 3M bought a company, Arrow, who had manufactured these earplugs beginning in 2003. But allegedly, and I'll get into that, the testing was skewed. How do we know this, or how is this alleged? Because there was a whistleblower complaint brought by another manufacturer, actually, who said, hey, this isn't right. Reminds me of when I was in grade school, Cliff, when people used to look on other papers and get A's, and I was getting my C's. And, it wasn't fair. The other company brought this because the testing was askew. They actually fudged it, allegedly. And, in fact, 3M, which is one of the nation's largest corporations, ended up paying what we consider to be a penurious amount, a small amount, of $9.1 million to the government. And to quote the Department of Justice, when they paid that, they said, the Department of Justice did, that we are committed to protecting the men and women's United States military from defective products and fraudulent conduct. At that point, said the Attorney General, and contractors who seek to profit at the expense of our military will face appropriate consequences. What people don't know is that's not the end of the story, it's the beginning of the story, because they have private rights of lawsuit, of causes of action or bringing lawsuits. And in fact, this is not known, but 25 to 30% of the claims that are brought at the Veterans Administration for monetary disability are for hearing loss. And not only hearing loss, but you also have tinnitus. What's that? Ringing in the ears.
Right.
So not only do many of these people have can't hear very well, but they also have ringing in their ears. And what they don't know is it might be, if they were in the military from 2003 through 2015, caused by this. We are representing helicopter pilots. We are representing individuals who had these hearing devices. Now, what happened with these devices is there wasn't a proper seal. So it really didn't, and the testing was done in-house by the people that manufactured this. So it's kind of not objective testing.
Right.
In any event, many
Sounds
people.
like Boeing.
Yeah, right, exactly.
Exactly.
But 25 to 30% of the claims are brought because of hearing loss. It's a real serious problem. And in order to pursue this, you need to file a lawsuit. What happens is, there are hundreds of lawsuits now. We have many.
Yes.
That get filed, and then what happens is they get transferred out. Originally, we were filing them in Minnesota, but they get transferred out to Florida to a judge there, and it's called multi-district litigation. All the cases are brought together so that everybody learns about what happened here. And in essence, that's what's going on.
That's what's going on. So, Steve, Consular, what do we think is happening now? I mean,
all these
since we want to follow this up, which is why we had you last month.
Right.
Yeah.
We're
got a
really
lot more
at the beginning of doing this, and we haven't really gotten into discovery. Some of the stuff.
Okay.
There are punitive damages. What's that? That's punishment.
Yeah.
Much like Boeing probably is facing, perhaps,
Right.
in their lawsuits. But when you know that something isn't working, you're risking. This is the allegations in the whistleblower lawsuit, and you do this type of thing. Not only does it open up just for the pain and suffering, for the loss of being able to hear, for the economic damages, for those people who have issues at their job, it opens up what we call punishment damages. But in order to do it, you need to follow time limits, and you need to do it sooner than later, because these things are now full gallop and they're going. So anybody
well, the
who's got
statute hadn't run on this.
no, it hasn't because
okay.
it's discovery,
Yeah.
which means when you discover it, you
Right.
have a certain period
From
of time.
that time.
But now that it's getting some press, there's going to be some time limit issues eventually, and people have to act on this.
You know, Consular, one of the things, as you well know, want our listeners to know, that 3M said, quote, since late 2003, 3M touted its combat arms earplugs as capable of allowing users to hear to hear commands from friendly soldiers and approaching enemy combatants unimpaired, in the same way as if they had nothing in their ears.
Well, I would say, and I'm not trying to be facetious, they did have nothing in their ears because the stuff didn't work.
That's right.
So, yeah, you could get commands, but unfortunately, what's coming in is also coming in, and that's the noise.
Yeah.
See, because something like that, and that was part of the allegations. I mean, it's like, really? You don't have a seal so people can hear their commanders? Well, they're also hearing noise.
Yeah.
Loud bangs.
And permanent damage.
Damage. And once you lose your hearing,
right.
it is not coming back, as we all know.
Yeah.
You can have hearing aids and devices, but it is not. They're not that effective.
So, Consular, what happens at this point? I know you've got many clients, but tell us what, because there's a lot of people.
Well, they
and you've gotten, some folks that I know have are your clients now.
Right. Some things people, they might want to file claims with the VA, first of all, to start by themselves to get benefits for that if they're disabled. The second thing is, and I hate to tout doing this, it seems, but call us at 312-781-1977. And the reason I say that is we have these lawsuits ongoing, and we're proceeding, and getting everything done.
We've had good relations with the VA, of course, and so forth and so on. So if you mentioned the start Consular file with the VA, what happens normally with that?
Well, it depends. It's because remember when you're going for VA disability benefits, they're disability benefits. So some people have, can't actually do much, if anything, economically or occupationally because they can't hear. Okay, that's 25 to 30% of the claims now are because of loss of hearing, or tinnitus probably lesser of an extent. But when people are losing their occupation, their trade, they can't hear. And imagine that. And if they were in battle, as we reach this holiday, and they've sacrificed everything they've sacrificed, and they were given improper hearing protection, allegedly. But that's what's involved.
Consular, do we have any idea at this point what has happened with the ones who have filed with the VA?
Some
Mm-hmm.
are getting benefits.
Okay.
Some are getting benefits as part of other disabilities, the ones I've seen. But the VA does recognize this, in my opinion.
They are recognizing
They are recognizing it. But what I'm surprised about, Cliff, is, and there are probably hundreds of lawsuits filed now, but it is, how many thousands of soldiers have hearing loss? If 25 or 30% of the claims filed, there's a lot of people out there who probably don't know there's private causes of action out there. You could file a lawsuit for your injury, not what the government gets back or what they decide is appropriate compensation for the government. I think 9.1, I read somewhere in one of the reading materials that that might have been a year's profit or something like that for 3M. I don't know, but it's a paltry amount to pay for people's loss when they knew.
Sure.
As when
That's
we were,
the problem.
Yeah, when
we
were on last time, I think Dan Seidman, who has filed these with us downstate Illinois.
Yeah.
He says like the fingers on the scale when you're weighing a piece of fish. When a guy wants to. That's what they did with that testing. They're putting their hand on the scale, right? So.
We are pleased to have Attorney Steve Seidman with us, America's Heroes Group Advisory Board member, and of course one of our sponsors. We're always pleased to have him. He does such great work. And this is a follow-up, as he just mentioned, of about a month ago. And there have been more filings since then, obviously. Yes. And so you are suggesting, however, and this is important, that they file with the VA first.
No,
Oh, you're not saying
not at all. No.
I want to make sure.
This is separate and apart.
Okay.
VA is a benefit that if they're disabled, that they could go to the VA. You don't need to be disabled to file a lawsuit.
Right, exactly.
I suggest anybody who has hearing loss files a lawsuit.
I got you.
But the VA is something, if you're disabled totally and you're a veteran, you deserve those VA benefits, that's a different story. So it is
but
not
this is two separate things.
Two separate things,
Right,
apples and
gotcha,
oranges.
right.
As is the government stuff that they did with 3M. They're completely different.
I think it's amazing that. What's been the response to the filings? Is 3M still saying we didn't do anything wrong?
First of all, when they paid the $9.1 million, you always deny liability, meaning they did not admit any fault. These are just in the beginning stages, and they're all getting brought together in a district. We've seen this with these talc cases that we've brought, the Johnson & Johnson. They're brought all into one jurisdiction, in this case, Jacksonville, Florida. And then there'll be what we call bellwether cases. What are those? Those are a few cases that's going to be tested, but we're very early on in this litigation. So we're just learning.
Yeah. Well, this is certainly something, hopefully, and being Memorial Day and all, hopefully this will be something that a lot of people will listen to and act accordingly. Again, Steve Simon is with us, the consular. You can ask him a question right now if you'd like, 312-374-8130. That's our call-in number, and of course you know his office number. Toll-free number is 888-837-3275, and the office number is 312-781-1977. This is Consul, this is going to go on, isn't it?
Yeah, it is going to go on. As more people learn about it, it's going to continue for a while. And, it is a shame because the United States government entered into an exclusive contract. Nobody else even had a chance to bid. And as a result of that, when you have one defective product causing a lot of problems, it's going to go on.
That's terrible. Let's take a caller for the consular. Amy, hi. You're on WVON. How you doing?
I'm doing great. Thank you.
Good. Thanks for calling.
Absolutely.
Did you have a question or comment?
Oh, no. I was calling in because I think I'm supposed to be on the next show about the Veterans Court with Lori Roper.
Oh, yes, you are. Okay, yeah. You're coming on later. This is,
okay.
Yeah, we'll be getting back to you. Sure, I know. Yeah, you'll be on... in a little while. Thank you so much. We'll get back to you, okay? All right. I thought Amy, she's going to be on the next show.
Right.
But she's calling just a different line.
Right.
That's right. I just think that, let me ask whether you think, Consular, that based on because we know you've gotten, we just love what you do, and you get... we get callers asking for your number and so forth and so on. Have you seen an increase on this particular issue?
Oh, yes, absolutely.
Yeah, okay,
sure.
okay.
Yes, as the word spreads out.
Yeah, okay.
And that's the key, to spread out this word. Yes, the increase is there.
Okay.
Absolutely.
I'm hoping people recognize
Oh, yeah.
this.
I think since a month ago, we've seen more questions being asked about this. Sure.
Yeah, I don't want somebody to think, as our commander-in-chief, that this is fake news.
No, it's not fake news, I can tell you. In fact, Commander-in-Chief's wing, the Department of Justice, took money, so I don't think he could call it fake news.
Okay.
This time.
Yeah,
Yes,
okay.
yes.
Good point.
Yeah.
Good point. Good point, Steve. What else do we need to know before we let you go?
Not much, other than I will tell you, don't let your rights go past. Check your hearing, even if it seems that you think it might be just because you're getting a little older or whatever. If you were in the military from 2003 through 2015, when this was out, when these plugs were being used, earplugs, to prevent hearing loss, and in fact, we would say, unfortunately, had exactly the opposite effect. You need to act on those rights. If you don't, you're really letting rights go by.
I know that the allegations by the U.S. government were brought against 3M through the enforcement of the False Claims Act.
Right. We know those as key tams or whistleblower lawsuits.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I wanted you to mention. Yeah.
So whistleblower lawsuits are when a private citizen or company says, hey, there's hanky-panky going on here.
Right.
They're usually filed what we call under seal or secretive. We do that as well, so we have a few of these. And then the United States government decides whether or not, after investigating things, whether they want to unseal it and take over or let what we call the relator, who's the person who gives the information, take over with his lawyers himself. So that's what happened in this case, the hearing loss case, the earplug case. It started as a whistleblower case.
Gotcha. Now, gets me, Consular. We discussed this before, however, I just want to mention it again. The earplugs were sold to the military until 2015.
Yes.
And when 3M discontinued the product, but however, the defective pairs were not recalled.
No, there was never been a recall.
They didn't recall them.
Well, they didn't, because I think what we're going to find out is they're going to deny anything's wrong with them.
Oh, please.
And they didn't recall them, and they might have been sold to other vendors.
Yeah.
They might even still be out there and being used, whether it's in the military or otherwise. So
they're still likely used by soldiers.
They probably are. I'm not sure likely, but I would, I'm not saying anything bad about the military's command, but I'm not sure they've taken these. If they're not recalled, that means they're still out there. So you could have sets, because they bought so many of these. You could have unused sets in some storehouse that are distributed to the military, to people in the military, and they have no idea.
And it could be by other vendors, right?
Could be indeed. Yes.
Yeah, because if they haven't recalled them, they're still
then
there.
They're still out there in a stream of commerce, we say.
Yeah, stream of commerce. Well, this is going. How long do you think it'll be before we at least get some information, Consular, as to what's going on?
It's going to be months. And the reason I mention this is when you get started in these things, discovery. What's that?
Yes,
It's
right.
finding out what happened here.
It
goes on a little while, but I think within months we're going to know. We actually, through this whistleblower lawsuit and what the government has already disclosed, know a lot, an awful lot.
You sure do.
Yep.
Yeah. I know more than I ever thought I'd know. Just reading. Attorney Steve Seidman of Seidman, Margulis, and Fairman, 20 South Clark Street, 2 First National Plaza, Suite 700, Chicago, Illinois, 60603. And, of course, his toll-free number is 888-837-3275, and the office is 312-781-1977. Please pay attention to this. This is why we are so pleased to have Steve on, of course, as one of our members of our group here, because this is an important situation, and there's a lot of people that, some have already been hurt, but we don't want to see there could be even more.
Right.
And that's the crazy part of it.
It is the crazy part. I think that we only know the surface at this point.
Right, exactly.
And this stuff could still be going on because these products are still out there, and there is no end in sight.